Agreement.
Yay, I will call this meeting to order. See everybody for our August meeting. Hope everybody enjoyed a little bit of a break in July. At least not. Didn't have to be here. I will remind everybody that we do have folks on virtual, and so when we are speaking, if you will identify yourself by name, or if you're proposing to vote on a motion, if you'll identify your name. When you do so, that will be helpful for everyone. And we will start by asking Beth to do our roll call.
Aberdeen. Anger. Jamel Harmon, Town Manager, present. Apex.
Karen Hack, Apex.
Archer Lodge. Benson. Broadway.
Donald Andrews, Town of Broadway, present.
Scarborough.
Danny Nowell, Town of Scarborough.
Carthage. Erie. Chapel Hill. Chatham County.
Amanda Robertson, Chatham County.
Layton. City of Durham. Durham County. Foxfire. Fuquay Marina.
Chris Bourne, Fuquay Marina.
Garner. Hillsborough. Holly Springs.
Fraser Holly Springs is here.
Johnston County. Kenley. Nightdale.
Eve Evans, Town of Nightdale, present.
Lee County. Micro. Moore County. Morrisville.
Rashid Patel from Town of Morrisville, present.
Orange County.
Holly Green, Orange County.
Pine Level. Pine Bluff. Pinehurst. Pittsburgh. Princeton.
Stacy Johnson, Town of Princeton, present.
Raleigh.
Mitchell Silver, City of Raleigh, present.
Robbins. Rollsville.
Ronnie Kern, Town of Rolesville, present.
Sanford.
Rebecca Selman, City of Sanford.
Selma.
Byron McAllister, Town of Selma, present.
Siler City. Smithfield. Southern Pines.
Ann Peterson, Southern Pines, present.
Taylortown. Bath. Wake County.
Susan Evans, White County, present.
Wake Forest. Wendell.
Deloach, Wendell, present.
Whispering Pines.
Hutchinson, Village of Whispering Pines, present.
Wilson's Mills.
Joyce Raleigh, Town of Wilson's Mills, present.
Zebulon. I think I saw Kathleen for Hillsborough and Aberdeen and Fallon.
And
Okay.
yet- And I'm actually on my way in. I'm just incredibly late. sitting in the parking lot.
Well, be safe.
I will, but I will be there shortly.
All right. And we do have a quorum.
Well, thank you. Well, you know, over the last couple of years, I'd say Chair Brett Gant started this. We've been having a little presentation of things from our past history that's notable, and I love this stuff. So I asked Lee if he would help continue that. So he has pulled out for us tonight a 1971 Research Triangle Regional Planning Commission study. It's called the Research Triangle Region of North Carolina Economic Indicators. This book was put together by the Regional Planning Commission, had a federal grant to do that from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. The documented economic indicators for both public and private sectors. It is important to note that at this time, this only focused on Wake, Durham, and Orange counties. But I flipped through it just briefly, found some of the population estimates and different things intriguing. But for those of you who weren't around in 1971, you might find this interesting. So we will pass this. We'll get it that way. Get ready to have a look. All right, now we will review the agenda and ask if anyone has any changes to propose to the agenda. Hearing none, I approve the agenda and we'll move forward. At this time, I would like to recognize our most recent chair, Byron McAllister, and thank him for his service. Having been an officer for the past 3 years, and Byron also all during that time, we've had a good chance to get acquainted and work on a number of different things, a little more last year than some years. And that's all I'll say on that. But I have come to appreciate Byron's thoughtfulness, level-headedness, and wisdom. And so we have been blessed by his service. And just want to say thank you. And we have a little token of appreciation.
Picture. Another picture, yeah. Okay. Next on our agenda would be public hearings, but we do not have any this evening. And so I asked Lee and Elena if they'd be willing to present an overview of all the Central Pines programs as we kick off this new fiscal year. And so I invite Elena to take us through it.
While Elena's coming up, I really appreciate Elena putting this overview together. It's really hard to highlight, I don't know the number, 109, I think 109 or so different programs that we administer here at the Regional Council. So what we're doing tonight is just giving you a brief overview. This is the meat of the whole meeting, so we'll take as long as we need to. If you have interest in programs, we'll do our best to talk about them, or if there's something you're really interested in, we can always ask staff to come back at a meeting in the future and give more detail. So Elena, thank you for your time in putting this together. Elena's our local government services director. So I rely on Elena's expertise and relationships in the region, really to provide that contact with our 50 local government members, and making sure that we're providing the services that they expect and want from us. So Elena, thank you for all your hard work and your team. All right.
So with that, yeah, I will be providing a very high level overview of all of our programs. You'll see as I go through the slides, they are all available on these slides, but as Lee said, there are many programs. And so I'll leave space for each of you as you see the material in the slide deck. There are certain programs you'd like more context on, you can ask here, you can ask later. But I know for Chair Evans and probably many of you, she sort of indicated it takes a really long time to learn all of the things that we do. And so tonight is really just a snapshot. It's also a chance to kind of highlight some of our accomplishments through these programs. A lot of this will be available. Some of what I'm presenting tonight will be available in our very beautiful, as always by Beth, Year in Review document. And so it's a chance to sort of see everything we do and also hear about the great work that we're doing. I'm sorry. So the way I've sort of structured this is just to cover a couple of different things. First is to do some reflection on the foundation of our work, which is serving our local government members, talk a little bit about how we approach technical assistance, as that is throughout a lot of the programs that we offer. Talk about how we are restructuring our strategic focus areas, because that's how I will present all the programs to you tonight. Give you a very high level, as I said, overview of all of our programs and services, and then highlight a couple of key accomplishments in each of those areas. So hopefully folks in the room can see this. I'll do my best to, actually, while I'm talking, I'm gonna try and hide. I don't know if I'll be able to hide. I was gonna try and hide the other folks on the slides, but so as I said, one of the most foundational things that we do is membership assistance to our local governments. We have 50 local governments. Each of you represent one of them in the room and on the call. And so we're very much mission driven. We try to be a resource if your staff have questions or concerns that are coming up in your community, to be someone that you can reach out to. And we've been trying to do a better job of both tracking the requests that we get each year to understand trends, but also so that you can see the kind of work that we're doing on your behalf. We often get questions like, what can you do for us? What should our staff reach out to you for? What should they not reach out to you for? And the not great answer is you should reach out to us and we'll tell you if we can help. And usually if we can't help you, we know where to send you. But one thing that we are really proud of is that we continue to have really high utilization of our technical assistance. In the past year, 2/3 of our membership engaged us beyond all of the programs that you'll see on the slides that are coming for direct, either just individual consultation, questions, or contracts to do specific work for them. So we're very proud to be able to be a resource for all of you. Another thing we see as technical assistance is this space. So if you've ever gone into the other suite, you'll see little cards that say our space is your space. And we see that as a really critical service that we offer to you. You all receive access to this space for free. And then we provide it to community groups as sort of a hub. And so we held over 100 meetings this past year from community groups in these spaces. And it's always available to your staff. On the left-hand side, there's just a couple of examples of technical assistance projects. We have a full dashboard, which is always, I believe, in Lee's executive director's report. So if you're ever wondering, want to see the full list, you can look there. But these are just some examples of things we've done in the past year. Our planning department worked with the town of Clayton to provide gaps when they were understaffed in their planning services. We helped facilitate several retreats for Wake County's Board of Commissioners. And the Village of Foxfire worked with our finance staff to do a comprehensive overview of their finance policies. So very wide ranging, as you can see. So our strategic focus areas are shifting this year. And for those of you who have been on the board for the past year, you got to see our new strategic plan adopted, which was done in April 2026. And this was an effort to shift the way that we approach our work from being very siloed and topic specific to more reflective of the way that a lot of our work intersects. So again, for the folks in the room, it's kind of hard to see this screen, but on this side, you can see there's 6 boxes, things like housing, aging services. And on this side, a much prettier graphic made by a lovely design firm who helped us rebrand that has these 5 more interconnected focus areas that acknowledge that transportation and housing are not separate from one another, and so on and so forth. So the way I'm going to present all of our programs is using these strategic focus areas. Okay, so our first focus area I'm going to talk about is thriving people and communities. And this includes the work of our Area Agency on Aging as well as other human services programs. And the description for this focus area is supporting the well-being, health, and quality of life of our residents through direct assistance, age-friendly communities, community outreach, and service coordination. On the right-hand side, there is a list of all of our programs. I'm going to sort of just quickly read them out. The ones that are bolded, I have slides directly talking about, so try and wait on those. But if you have questions about any of these other programs, happy to give at least high-level context on those. And as Lee mentioned, there's a lot of programs, so bear with me. Under this focus area, we do work for family caregiver support, our long-term care ombudsman program, which you've heard about in recent meetings, elder abuse awareness and prevention work, a program that I think lovingly, or maybe not lovingly, is called MIPA, but it actually means Medicare Improvement for Patients and Providers. Programs like legal services. We have several programs involved in our homelessness work. You've heard about, I think, some of those recently. If you've been a part of the board for the last year, we do street outreach in Chatham County, Durham Street Medicine Program in Durham County. We do several home repair programs for older adults, which I'll talk a little bit more about. And then we have a very large grant right now from HUD working on improving the network for responding to youth homelessness. So those are all of our current programs in this focus area. And I'll dive into a couple of them, but if you have questions about anything, and we actually have our aging director here who might be able to answer some of the questions better. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So one of the highlighted programs from this last year is a program that long name is the State Fiscal Recovery Funding Housing and Home Improvement Program. It's more for using home. And this is a program that the state created using ARPA funding, specifically working to do home repair for older adults in the region who needed critical home repair. And so you can see this before and after picture of a home that I believe was in Orange County of an older adult who basically her roof was falling in. And so our aging team administers this program, administering this program in partnership with our counties, and it makes some really notable changes for our older adults. Another program that we do under this focus area is our Veterans Directed Care program, which has been in place in the organization, I believe, since 2019. But it was in a very stalled pilot phase until like last year, I believe. And in that last year, it has ramped up drastically. So for 6 years, it had 1 person in it, and now it has 20. So as awareness of this program has grown, participation has grown. This is a really unique program. It provides veterans who need unique assistance the opportunity to receive those services in their homes rather than going into a facility and having a bit more control over the services that they receive. And so I know this program continues to grow and has been really impactful for the veterans that receive these services. And this is specifically, so far we have veterans in Durham, Granville, Lee, Orange, and Wake counties. Connected places. So this focus area is really focused on the interconnection between all of the infrastructure that we have in our region related to land use. So in creating accessible, well-planned, and linked communities through coordinated land use, transportation, housing, water, sewer, and regional planning. Just an easy lift right there. And we have a lot of programs here. I'm gonna highlight 2 of them, but I'll just flag some that may be more familiar to you and some that are maybe less familiar. We staff the rural planning organization. So if you're in the western or rural portion of our region, you might be a part of the Central Pines RPO. We have some long-standing programs like our Transportation Demand Management Program, which seeks to increase ridership in transit and reduce single occupancy vehicles. We do a lot of work with coordination of our MPOs, which I'll talk about. We administer grants like CBDG. So right now we administer the Town of Cary's CBDG funding that they receive, which is a formula funding grant for them. A number of housing projects. We've been doing work with Chatham County for a long time on housing. We administer a number of federal and state repair programs, which I think has been discussed in recent meetings. A lot of their programs called the Essential Family Rehabilitation Loan Program and the Urgent Repair Program, and we do this for a number of counties. And then we have some other programs that you may not have heard about, like our Triangle Regional Solid Waste Consortium, which is solid waste departments in our larger communities. Our water supply partnership, which is all of our large utilities in the region. And Jordan Lake One Water, which is the Jordan Lake watershed. And I don't know enough to speak about that one. So if you have questions, I might turn it to another staff person. So there's a lot of great programs in this focus area.
Can I just comment on, because I don't want to belabor some of these too long, but the Triangle Water Supply Partnership, I think, is especially notable. So if you go back to a lot of our archives, there are a lot of conversations about what was going to be done with Jordan Lake when it was constructed. A lot of interesting material about Triangle J at the time, helping to convene and have those conversations with the local governments. That has advanced over the years to the Triangle Water Supply Partnership. And the importance of this group is those large utility, not just large, it's large and not so large, but folks that are getting allocations from Jordan Lake, working together to actually jointly go to the state with a consolidated request for allocation. And so where in some places you see local governments fighting over water allocation, our local governments have been able to come together and work, and we help facilitate that to have conversations about Jordan Lake allocation. The other part of that, which happened decades ago, and I think it just is a testament to the power of convening and what regional councils can do, the interconnection agreements that are so strong in this region between local governments, many of them were negotiated and agreed upon around the Council of Government table. And I think one of the best examples of that is, I know several years ago, Owasso had sort of a critical point where they had a couple things happen at the same time, and they were able to wheel water from Durham and other places to Owasso. And I remember them saying, you know, these agreements were negotiated decades ago at Triangle J. So it's just really interesting to see what's been done in the past. And so, especially on the water front, I think there's a lot of opportunity in the future as well. But that was one I just wanted to notate specifically.
A notable achievement from this last year in this focus area was the adoption of the 2055 MTP, which you might be familiar with if you're involved with either the Capital Area MPO or the Triangle West TPO. One thing that our staff is heavily involved in with this work is coordination of those two organizations. And so it was a big lift for both of those organizations and ours over the past 4 years. And they were really happy to be able to have that adopted and put a check next to it. Specific work that the Central Pines team does to support that effort include our land use forecasting, revenue forecasting, performance measurement, and project coordination on those efforts. And just to put that into perspective, the impact of this plan, the MTP includes about $80 billion of projects, and it anticipates us adding 1.3 million more residents in those two regions together. So quite a large growth anticipated.
This plan is required by the federal government.
That is correct. I'm not sure if the joint one is.
Yeah. I don't want to put Doug on the spot, but Doug Fichinsky's the Triangle West TPO director.
Much of these better.
He knows more about that than any of us, so he can certainly comment. We get anything wrong.
Yes, please jump in if I get anything wrong there.
Sounds good to me.
Excellent. Another program that we've been working on over the past year is a partnership with Durham County using some of their ARPA funding. to specifically target funds for, again, folks that are 60 and older who meet certain requirements for low income. They have to be below 80% of the county's area median income. And funding that we are administering through that program can be used for critical repairs, plumbing, accessibility modifications. So this program has only been in effect for, I believe, about a year, and has already had 73 applications, 33 properties assessed, and 21 homes with repairs complete.
So will this be time limited since it's ARPA funding?
Yes, and I believe the total funding was about 800,750. So it's a specific pot of funding that will go away once ARPA's gone.
They're closing it out right now, so.
Perfect. Prosperous and sustainable region. So this is our third focus area. Focus on building economic and environmental resilience through strategic asset building, resource protection, and community resilience. There's a number of programs, as you can see by the 2 columns listing all the programs. Some of them you're probably more familiar with. You've heard about them before, like our foreign trade zone, which often comes before this body when there's new additions to the zone. But this also includes programs like our Economic Development District, which is our direct connection to US EDA to do comprehensive economic development planning in the region. The administration of a climate pollution reduction grant, which we've been working on for several years, and I believe is wrapping up soon. Our long-range planning support, so we do direct planning for a lot of our communities and their staff, and then a number of water programs like Lee mentioned, such as our Raleigh Watershed Protection Program, the Upper Cape Fear River Basin, the administration of water quality planning grants, the Clean Water Education Partnership, the Triangle Area Water Supply Monitoring Project, and probably more. So there's a lot of water programs focused on quality and supply. And several of resilience-focused projects as well. Up here, one of our largest ones right now is in partnership with the Nature Conservancy, doing resilience and restoration in the Cape Fear River Basin. So a number of projects here. So one of the water projects that had some noteworthy work in the past year, among many other projects, was the Triangle Area Water Supply Monitoring Program called TOSIP, I think is how they say it. They have an acronym, even though it's not easy to say. But this is a water quality monitoring program that has been in place for several decades. And they work in phases of, I believe it's 5 years or 6 years. 5 years, thank you, Lindsay. And most recently, their work focused on expanding their monitoring efforts to include PFAS, which I know is a huge conversation in the region and nationally. And so this partnership has been in place for a long time, monitoring a number of things related to water quality, but they most recently added the addition of monitoring for PFAS. They're beginning to plan for their next phase of monitoring, which they are looking at adding microplastics as their addition to some monitoring. Yes. And this map here is the monitoring locations, I believe, throughout the region. It specifically is focused on the Upper Cape Fear River Basin.
And it's forgive me if you mentioned this, Elena, it's a partnership with the US Geological Survey. It's on the slide. So we've had a long-standing partnership with them. So they do the technical work, do the monitoring, and we convene and do the administration of it.
The other highlight of this work in this focus area is a time-limited grant that we received from the North Carolina Department of Information Technology in partnership with Chatham County and Durham County staff, as well as some nonprofits in those communities. And this was specifically focused on digital opportunities, so improving digital literacy for community members in these counties. And we partnered with an organization called the Cramden Institute, who you may have worked with in other spaces, and they were the ones that provided the digital literacy training. And also anyone who participated in those courses received a computer, I believe. And so far, there's been 97 classes held and 1,200 individuals have participated, which exceeds the number that were expected to be reached through this funding. And the funding has not finished yet, so we're very pleased to have had such a large reach, and that was definitely in partnership with Camden and their programming.
Can I say something else about the Camden Institute?
Yes, please.
They've been around for quite a while, and one of the first brilliant thing they do is they will accept your old laptop computers, and they will do the scrubbing of the data. You don't have to worry about that, but that's why they're able to recycle and give them back to the community. This reminds me, I have an old computer I need to give them. So.
And they're always looking at them too.
Wake County now uses them for all of our outdated things that go to Camden Institute.
They would be happy for us to put a plug in to send their computers to them. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah,
They're always looking for them.
Opportunity.
The fourth, I have never heard of.
Yes, ma'am. We will
Yeah, we can share any information that you'd like.
share the information at Camden, and yeah, it's a great organization. I agree. It's great. They're great.
Our fourth focus area is regional excellence and innovation. The description of this focus area is serving as the convener. Lee said convening several times. All of his description. I mean, convening is one of our essential services and catalyst for local government members through technical assistance, expertise, collaboration, innovation, and shared services. This focus area has a smaller number of programs, but some of the things that you may engage with us on fall into some of these buckets in sort of unique ways, which can be said about a lot of our programs. We have general member support and strategy. We have a grant assistance program that many communities are a part of. Our regional data center work, government facilitation services, general funding through American Rescue Plan to provide support to all of your organizations as you administer American Rescue Plan funding, which is finally coming to an end in December. Our
You're working on a replacement to that, right?
Rescue Plan funding?
Yes.
We wish. A lot of funding is, winding down. Our human resources work, which includes our human resources consortium that we offer for a lot of your HR directors. It also includes work that we do a partnership with Piedmont Triad Council to our west, who has worked with a lot of your organizations for paying classification studies, market studies, policy review, things like that. Financial assistance, that's our staff worked with many of our mostly smaller communities, but not always small communities, to provide them financial support. Not financial support that way, financial staffing support. We've been administering Wake County, a portion of Wake County's ARPA funding for several years that they provided subawards. They used it to provide subawards to community groups, and we've been administering that. Our recent workforce mobility grant that we received in partnership through a partnership with Walmart to do some work on public pipelines. And we administer the statewide Association of Regional Councils ARPA funding. Any questions on any of those before I jump in? Okay. So one highlight, which we're really excited about, that you may have heard about our work in the town of Micro for several years, providing support for them, helping them catch up on audits, and change some of their financial practices. They are officially off the watch list. So we're very excited about that. It's been several years in the making, and it's just as much, they've been very much involved in this process as well, but we're very happy to be able to provide that support and move them off that list. So that is one example of our finance work in progress. And the other highlight is our Pathways to Government work, which I talked about at, I believe, a very recent meeting, so I won't belabor that one too much, but we partnered with the Raleigh I-Team and United Way of the Triangle to do a analysis of our local governments and their hard to fill positions. We identified vacancy strain issues, drivers of vacancy strain, and hard to fill high demand careers, and applied for the grant in partnership with Walmart and the Education Design Lab to develop templates that our local governments can use to better communicate the skills they're looking for those hard to fill positions. So more work coming on that. Yes.
I'm Amanda Robertson Chatham. Elena, I'm curious about that. As you said that, I'm just sitting here wondering, I mean, this is a really great thing that you do. And it's nice that everybody here can benefit from that. How much of what you all do at Central Pines do you then share out across the state or even farther? Is this something that ends up, some of this stuff you guys look at and go, this needs to go out, or how does that work?
I think it depends on the project. I mean, we have a very strong relationship with our national association, so that's sharing with other COGs, but there is a very robust network of sharing in that way, as well as statewide.
That's good.
Yeah, that's probably the most universal way that
Yeah,
we're sharing.
that's kind of what I was wondering. Thank you.
Elena, talk about how you and United Way and the I-team work together on that report, right? The report, which got widely shared and ended up with some money, right?
Getting funding, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, no.
Sometimes Elena will brag on it, so. Others are involved too, but.
Yeah, so I mean, this is an example to what Lee is telling me to say is we partnered with the Raleigh I-team and United Way of the Triangle to do this assessment of our local government HR departments, basically, and then use that information to apply for a grant. The grant gives us funding to basically create replicable material that could be used in this way. So we received the grant because we were the only ones that said we work on public sector jobs. There's 10 recipients in the program, and we specifically said local government hiring is very unique, and we want to find ways to better match skills for these hard to fill careers to the existing programs that are in our region, or maybe there are no programs in our region and we need to create them. And so we were selected to sort of theoretically be a test case for public sector hiring changes.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you.
That might be my last slide. It is. One I did not have up on here, which does not go, it's our organizational excellence focus area, which is less programmatic, but it's underlying all of our great work that makes us actually compliant and function and have IT and all of those things. So there's no programs that you may experience in the direct sense, but they are very essential to that work. And that's my slide. Happy to take any questions.
I know that's a lot. Thank you very much. And for those of us sitting here who have a little trouble seeing the screen.
I know, I apologize.
But we do have these materials digitally and sent and made available. So I would, just ask everybody to really take a look at this. If you have questions for Elena, or if it sparks, an interest in something that CPRC could be doing for your municipality or your community. Awesome. So I hope that was helpful to just hear kind of a snapshot, because I can't always keep up with all the things that we do as an organization. So it's always helpful for other questions, other folks or comments.
How much do you think you're going to grow this year with programs?
I don't know. That's a late.
Put you on the spot.
That's a late question.
Oh boy. I think we've got some interesting things in the pipeline. Especially, one area that we've talked about quite a bit, and I was going to mention my executive director's report. I think there's some really interesting opportunities in the finance assistance area for smaller local governments, and welcome ideas on how we could get this thing off the ground. Hope and I have thought and struggled, and it's and we understand sometimes when we hear from our members about an issue, it's like they're about to go over the cliff, right? And us having the capacity to be able to go help them is really hard. And I mean, just in the last week and a half, I've gotten 3 calls from 3 member governments asking for help around finance. And so I'm actively trying to think about how we can do that. But, our finance team, I mean, they're overwhelmed right now with transition into new systems and stuff. So I don't have capacity. we've reached out to retired folks, we've reached out to some firms. So I welcome ideas and thoughts around that. The General Assembly has put some dollars toward the COG Association, maybe to help fund some of that. But I think the COG Association's vision and my vision on where I think that would be useful aren't quite aligning right now. So I don't know if we'll see money or not. And I can go into more detail later. But I think that's a huge opportunity for us to grow and to really help local governments. I think, we're seeing some real success in our housing programs. I think the veterans program is really, really exciting. And I think the Durham VA would send us more and more veterans. We're going to be hiring somebody to add capacity, but I think they're ready to push more veterans to us, and that is a wonderful program. So I think the other area where we're going to have to grow is in our long-term care ombudsman program. We talked about that a few months ago, I think, but in the highlight, the figures are fresh on my mind. There's going to be a 218% increase in individuals 85 plus in this region in the next 30 years. That's a 72,000 increase in folks 85.
So it's not just Chatham County.
Yes, and I mean, we're fully 1/4 of the growth in the whole state. And so we're already behind on our standards on number of ombudsmen per beds. We probably should have 6.5 or 7. But we don't get enough money from the state federal government. The counties gratefully help fund that. But we're probably going to have to hire an ombudsman every other year for the next 20 years, probably 12, if those numbers are correct. So I think that's a big growth area as well. Yes.
Can I ask you, Lee? I don't know, maybe a better question for your executive report, but just listening to the presentation, it's amazing kind of the breadth of what the organization does. I'm having a hard time just kind of wrapping my head around it. How do you kind of as executive director keep it all in your head? Like because I'm going on the online too. Like, what is the organizational unit? Like, we have the focus areas and there's programs and focus areas. I'm looking online and some have web pages, some don't, some are way out of date, some had minutes in 2023.
We have a new website coming in October.
Great. But do you have any goals for sort of a standard way for people to discover what the COG does, or for member governments to see what services are available? And I imagine there's some internal organization was what I was getting at. Like, internally, do you have a report of like, well, here's my 111 programs and here's the employees assigned to that, and like, how can we surface that so both delegates and the governments and maybe the public at large can see what services are available provided?
That's a great question. I don't know how I keep it in my head. A better question for my she worries sometimes that. But so this is where I understand for an elected official, you're coming in, I'm used to how things are organized in Apex or Wake County or Orange County or wherever, departments, right? Very, I don't want to say neat, right? But very organized in an organizational chart. We've been sort of batting that around, and I think the best answer, at least right now, is we're organized according to our strategic plan. So the program, we don't really have departments. We have these strategy areas that are championed by our department directors. So we do have department directors, whether it's Lindsay in Community Economic Development or Janisha's here with the Area Agency on Aging. So all of those, and we've been doing a lot of work with our finance system transition to do a much better job of aligning our finance nomenclature with the programmatic. so that we can tell you those sorts of things. And so the programs that you see is really how we're organized. Those programs are underneath that department head, and then Jenny oversees them. I oversee the rest. And then there's a huge spreadsheet that I put together. Laugh because they've seen it, which is trying to get to exactly what you say. I'm trying to figure out a way, I haven't found anything commercially available, where I can specifically show how many hours and effort is given to each program for each individual, so that we can at some point be able to present that to you in a logical way. The budget does some of that because you'll see allocation percentages. So, you know, an employee may be allocated to 6 different projects. They'll have 15% here, 20% here, 30% here, and that's how they charge their time. But we're working on better ways of presenting that. It's not, we haven't figured it out quite yet, and would love ideas on how it could be more effective and presentable to you all as board members.
So you got a spreadsheet, which is the source of truth. And translating that to something consumable by everyone else is the challenge, it sounds like. It seems like it's tough because a lot of these programs, I mean, there's life cycles. Yeah, exactly. They spin up, they spin down. The list that we have today isn't even the same list we have in 6 months, in a year, or whatever.
And that's the way we have to budget. And so we don't budget based on department. We have a truly programmatic budget. So we have 109 cost centers. You would say they were departments, right? Because we have to individually charge a employee's time to that, because some of them have very strict grant guidelines. And then we also charge out our indirect or our overhead based on all of that. So, I mean, I was the interim county manager for 6 months in Durham County and put together a budget and presented it to the board, and county budgets are complicated. But this budget it's much more interdependent. You change one program, it changes everything. It's much more, it took me almost, and I consider myself a bit of a budget nerd. It took me a full 2 years to wrap my head around the budget. And I'm not sure I still quite understand. I have to go to Hope and say, what does this mean again? So
But it's still really helpful to see this list today, you know, and you know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this and I'm going to literally put it out in a list and be able to share it with my board, because I think just being able to see these are the kinds of things you all have been doing across our area. And, you know, and so if we run into something, we can keep that in mind. And exactly that might not be it. There might not be money to be able to get to support us that way. But knowing that is really helpful, because then we can come to you and say, you know, when you did this, we're kind of in the same spot. We're wondering if we can't talk to you about doing something similar, you know. So I think that's really helpful.
Appreciate that. Thank you to the chair for challenging us and asking us to put this together.
I just want to toot your horn. Okay. I just want to say that, first of all, you know, you really are a regionally focused group. Rising tide lifts all boats. So, the focus, we're not just islands, we're not municipalities in our own sense, just counties. You know, we all work together, we all have something to gain from one another, which is one of my favorite parts about being a member of this organization. What worked in one place may not work the same way in another, but you're able to kind of navigate and make it work. So I just want to say I appreciate, it sounds like it's fairly complicated to manage at times, but you are doing a lot of great work. So
You're here.
It's a testament to our staff.
Yeah.
They're just awesome. Just awesome. And I appreciate the work that they do. And it's just a joy to see them get excited about providing public service, you know, despite what we see out there, you know, and, you know, not to get a little wax and poetic, but, you know, this is important work, and your staff are doing it every day. And, you know, we're doing it, and it's just, it's important stuff. And I'd much rather have a staff member with passion that we teach technical stuff to than somebody who has all the technical ability, but doesn't care. That's what we
I'll
look.
weigh in to say that on my several years on this board, staff is very proactive about, here's a possibility for a grant. Let's go after it. So it is always changing, but they're always paying attention to what might make sense to get involved with. And so I'm glad most people found merit in this, because I was on this board a couple of years before I had any sense of everything that this group is doing, and it is mind blowing. And different things fit well for smaller communities, but there are services that they have provided to our larger county as well. So it's a mix, and there's something that can benefit all the communities in the region. So appreciate y'all putting this together. I think it was a very helpful overview. It is an overview. Okay. Any other comments before we move on that?
Chair Evans, I just wanted to let everybody know I put the link to our year in review in the chat. I will also send that out after the meeting. And also, Commissioner Robertson, when you said that about the list of the programs, that's something that we can create for you guys and send that out.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Excuse me. We don't have any new business, but we do have a couple of items to consider on our consent agenda. One is the approval of the May 6 board minutes and authorization for the Triangle STPO's remix transit planning software, 2026-0801. Anyone interested in having anything moved from the consent agenda for further consideration?
Chair Evans, I did want to make a note about the minutes. The ones that were sent out had 2 typos, so I wanted to acknowledge that I did change those. One of them had past Chair McAllister's name on the signature, so I switched that to yours. So. But I did make those 2 minor changes. So.
Thank you. So there's some revised minutes out there.
Been moved to approve the revised minutes and consent agenda.
Second.
Okay,
we
was
have
second.
We have a motion by Kathleen Ferguson and a second by Amanda Ross. Anyone opposed to approve? There not. That passes. Oh, we do have to do a roll.
So sorry.
It was a good try.
I'll let you go, but it saves me some work. All right.
All right. We'll turn to Beth to do our roll call on approving the consent agenda.
All right. And just as a reminder, 1 vote per jurisdiction. We'll start with Aberdeen.
Town Aberdeen, Fallon Brewington. Aye.
Anger.
County Manager Chevelle Harmon, aye.
Apex.
Terry Mahaffey, Apex, aye.
Archer Lodge. Benson. Broadway.
Town of Broadway, Donald Andrews, aye.
Carrboro.
Town of Carrboro, Danny Nowell, aye.
Carthage. Chatham County.
Amanda Robertson, Chatham County, aye.
Clayton. City of Durham. Durham County. Foxfire. Fuquay Arena.
Chris Bourne, Town of Fuquay Arena, aye.
Garner.
Gilmore Vance, Town of Garner, aye.
Hillsborough.
Kathleen Ferguson, Hillsborough, aye.
Holly Springs.
Holly Springs, Chris DeShazer, aye.
Johnston County. Kenley. Nightdale.
Steve Evans, Town of Nightdale, aye.
Lee County. Micro. Moore County. Morrisville.
Rashid Patel, Town of Morrisville, aye.
Orange County,
Sally Green, Orange County, aye.
Pine Level, Pine Bluff, Pinehurst, Pittsburgh, Princeton,
Stacy Johnson, Town of Princeton, aye.
Raleigh,
Mitchell Silver, City of Raleigh, aye.
Robbins, Rollsville,
Ronnie Kern, Town of Roseville, aye.
Sanford, Rebecca Salmon, City of Sanford, aye. Selma,
Byron McAllister, Town of Selma, aye.
Siler City, Smithfield, Southern Pines,
Ann Peterson, Southern Pines, aye.
Taylortown, sorry. Bass, Wake County,
Susan Evans, White County, aye.
Wake Forest, Wendell,
Loach, Wendell, aye.
Whispering Pines,
Hutchinson, Village of Whispering Pines, aye.
Wilson's Mills,
Ross Raleigh, Wilson's Mills, aye.
Zebulon. Carries.
You? Okay, says here's time for the chair's report. Well, this chair doesn't have a whole lot to report just yet. Welcome back from a little bit of a summer break. Thank you for placing your confidence in me for this year. Look forward to a great year. Councilman DeShazer and I were talking right before the meeting, so he reminded me to put this forward. You know, we are all at the county and municipal levels going to be potentially affected by this constitutional amendment to control our tax levies that will be on your ballot in November. And I just want to say, I know it's going to be an uphill battle. I know we're starting to discuss at the county level how we push out information about this. The next time we meet as a full board will be October 28th, and by then it's too late. So basically, I'm just reminding everybody that, you know, this sounds really good on paper. Oh, we want to limit property taxes. But we have the burden of trying to get our communities to understand the danger of that and how that could potentially affect the services that we offer. And so it's a reminder to talk about it and maybe in your individual municipalities and counties come up with a plan, pass a resolution, put some public media things out there. It's likely going to pass, but we need to at least try to educate the community. So that's my PSA for today. And I will turn it over to the executive director.
It'll be interesting to see how the sausage is made. If that passes. I think that's really what is going to tell.
Right. So from a former manager perspective, I don't want to weigh in on it too much, but I will say that there is a limit to property tax rates already in effect in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. So that we're putting budgets together are very much aware of. So
and I don't think any counties come close to that maximum rate. So anyway.
So it's really already been done. Thank you everybody for being here tonight. I wanted to say my appreciation to the former chair for his support of staff and the organization over the last year. We really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you
for what you did. And I know it's, and for all of you, it's an extra duty doing this in addition to all the other things that you do. So thank you for serving. We do appreciate it. It's really important that you're here. Just to piggyback a little bit on a couple of the comments about our programs, you know, we do welcome ideas. We want to make sure that what we're doing really aligns with what our local governments want and need us to do. we are extensions of your staff. Each of you have adopted a charter resolution. Some the last amendment was in 2023, but in that, it's very clear that we are really an extension of your local governments, an extension of your staff. You own this organization and can do this with us just like you would any other local government. I mean, we are a local government, so do appreciate the nice comments about what we do. Regionalism, I say, is really a participation sport, right? I think part of it is as much as you put in, you can get out and learning. And we really want to hear from you how we can help. And we'll do our best. Sometimes we may not be able to, but we'll be in the right direction. Speaking of participation, here's an opportunity if you're interested. Our FTZ board chair is here. Rebecca Salmon, who's our mayor from Sanford and past chair and delegate, is also the chair of the Foreign Trade Zone Board. It's a really interesting board that deals with some interesting things, partners a lot with the private sector. And there's a vacancy right now for a member of this board or alternate to be on the FTZ board. There's
look like great candidates.
I see some other great candidates too.
There is another elected official on that board, Miss Lori Bush, who's a council member in Erie, but she is no longer a delegate or an alternate. So while she'll remain on the board, I think we need to fill that second board of delegates seat with a delegate or an alternate. So no need to raise your hand. I know all of you will raise it real quick. If this is something you're interested in, will you please email our board clerk, Beth Seidel, and that way we'll give an equal, it's in the executive director's report, we'll give an equal opportunity for folks to express interest, and then we'll go through an appointment process. All right. Anything else you want to say about the board?
No, but if you have any questions about what the FTZ does or what service would entail and you're curious about it, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you about it. But it's been a lot of fun, and it's a really neat economic development tool that is here within our region for us to be able to use. So for everybody, the more you know about this, the better your communities are.
Thank you for serving on. Elaine, I'm going to put you on the spot again like I did at the managers meeting. Will you quickly give an update on the big event on Saturday? Just logo, please.
So this Saturday is our third annual, we affectionately call it Local Government Career Expo. Many of your communities have participated in the past. The first year this was done in partnership with Wake County, who had a ton of effort put in by their staff to help make this possible. We have
782.
We have almost 800 people pre-registered. So we're definitely moving into some really high numbers of participation. It's just a unique opportunity to showcase local government and the careers that we have. There's a number of local governments that participate and have booths with your staff on site. And we also have some opportunities for folks to understand different pathways that they can find in local government. There are some partners there. The Workforce Board has their mobile van on site if people need to print resumes, and we've got breakout sessions with HR directors and things like that. So if you know someone who's looking for a job, or if you want to come out, it's at the McKimmon Center from 1 to 4 on Saturday.
So, yeah.
And I was going to say, I know that there's a little blurb about this on LinkedIn and probably on the Facebook page for mine. So hurry and share it.
We put it everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Your local governments have been sharing as well, and great example of the great work of our HR consortium and staffing, and putting a lot of work into this, and we'll be working Saturday as well. So thank you. Couple other things I wanted to mention. Again, thank you to our staff. We just wrapped up some technical assistance with Whispering Pines, finding them their next village manager, and we appreciate that opportunity. We're also just kicking off assisting Archer Lodge with their strategic plan. So I'll be facilitating retreat with the Archer Lodge board on the 15th September. So we appreciate those opportunities as well. One last thing, if you really dig these get to know CPRC items at the beginning and you like looking through this stuff, we are almost done with our library. So we have a archive library that we've been working on since the renovation. It is almost done. It's been a labor of love with a lot of folks. But there'll be a searchable card catalog with all the materials that are in there. You'll see on that it's got a barcode, so you can actually check an item out if you want to. Just a lot of documents from the past regarding Central Pines and things like that. So once that's done, we'll let you know. So if you want to come hang out in the library, Pine Preserves Library, you can. So
Given some of those documents, they're one of a kind, are there plans in the future to digitize so that they don't wander off?
yeah, we haven't quite figured that piece out yet. No, we should. So we're thinking about how to preserve some stuff. We're getting some cabinets and doing some things. But this stuff before the renovation, it was all over the place. And it's been really cool to be able to gather it all in one spot. A lot of this stuff was in a storage site. We didn't even know it was there until we went in there one day. And all the maps that you see on the wall were in a storage facility about a mile down the road. We had no idea. It was just like discovering a pot of gold. It was so cool. So, but thank you. Yes, we need to preserve that history.
Looking forward to
Thank you.
having a functioning library.
Good.
And just a reminder, the books over here didn't make it all the way around the room, but stop by and take a look about what was being predicted in 1971 if you're interested. All right. Now, thank you, Lee. We are ready for our Around the Region segment. I'm not going to give a particular prompt, but I'll just open it up. If anyone has anything they want to share that's exciting happening in their community or a challenge they're dealing with in their community, floor's open.
Mitchell Silver, City of Raleigh. It's probably more of a challenge, and I think Raleigh's in a different place, but hopefully what we've done could help others. Data centers. I know that's been a hot topic, not just across the state, but across the country. We had an application for annexation, and the intent was to build a data center. We had well over 100 people sign up to speak. So we knew it was a big concern to our community. The applicant withdrew their application, but a lot of people are calling for a moratorium. And I don't know if the public knew, but a few months ago, we had a presentation for our IT staff to understand data centers. In our case, we didn't need a moratorium because we had zoning regulations in place and broke up our data centers into a small scale minor utility and then the major utility. And that presentation is available. I could send a link for others to see it. But essentially, data centers can be just a small building to operate a cell tower. That is a data center, and it's small. It's no person's managing it, and those are allowed throughout the city in every zoning district. The major utilities, these are the hyperscale ones that most people are concerned about. In our case, this one was going to be 100,000 square feet, so it was big. That requires a special use permit and only allowed in industrial districts. So I'm not saying that's a solution, but if there are concerns, I know they're now being discussed all over the state. So I just wanted to share that in our case, we were already ahead of the curve and had zoning in place to deal with data centers, but a lot of municipalities are getting caught flat-footed. We were called by WRAL to talk more about data centers. We just shared the presentation, our zoning rules, so a moratorium is not needed for us, but I'm just sharing that in case any of you want to get more insight. You don't have to follow Raleigh's approach, but certainly this is just one approach that may be helpful if your community is concerned about potential for data center.
Back on that, I had a question. I'm sorry, my question about growth was really about data centers. And so I Vance and Lee, many of us are in moratoriums on data centers. And I know that we in Holly Springs did a moratorium specifically so that we could study and do some things. I know the Central Pines is doing a presentation with our Land Use Advisory Committee on Tuesday. We actually have a transparency portal and it has some really good information. And what made me think about this, I was on the phone today with someone from Charlotte, and they were talking about some of the things they were doing. I shared with them our transparency portal. With this being Central Pines and the Council of Government, it's possible to have a centralized place in Central Pines that has the things from Raleigh, the things from Holly Springs. I know Apex is doing some things. Everyone, this just a centralized place where we are not all building the same things in vacuums, and all of our staffs can go to this place as a resource.
So we have that, but we definitely need to communicate it more. So we have a page on our website that is a hub for tracking moratorium language and other zoning language. But we could definitely make something more comprehensive as people, because I know a lot of communities are in moratoria right now and working on language. We could happily make it more robust. It depends on how public you want to share that. And we're also doing template ordinance language right now. So we have a working group with a number of communities in this room to help draft one. So if you're working on language, that is coming in the next month. But yeah, we would happily host.
I mean, like for us, everything that we're doing is on our portal, it's on our website, and it's public knowledge. And anyone can come to it. And I don't know if others are going that far, but if you are, I mean, I'd love to be able to see it because it helps me prepare to understand some of the other things that are happening around the region.
Sure. Yeah, and that presentation also covered the latest technology in water and energy use, because a lot of the feeling is that it's going to absorb a lot of energy and water, and now some of the newer technology are having them more self-contained. Highly, highly informative. And so again, it talks about at least one approach we're taking, but it talks in general. The presentation is about what is the state of data centers, both now and where is it going into the future.
Is that, Lee, the presentations from Mike Turner, are those all on our website? Because that, okay.
They're also on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, but we can reshare all of
Yeah,
this, and we're happy to make it more robust with all of the resources.
Yeah, and the more the merrier. If members of your staff are working on this and haven't been part of our data center working group, we are always welcoming new folks because it is a rapidly changing issue, and we're just trying to convene and help people at least run halfway behind the train on this one. Yeah, anything we can do to help with this one, we're happy to.
Mr. Romsky?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, I believe our staff is also working with CPRC on this as well, and are nearing the point where they're going to bring us some recommendations, I believe coordinating with our planning board as well. I had some conversation here tonight. I think it's also important to share here that we are also now facing a pipeline in Chatham County. It's still fairly early, only, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 months into this. And it appears that the pipeline goes from Siler City to Moncure, where we are being sued by a company that wants to put a data center in Moncure. So coincidence, I don't know, but I would just say to folks here to make sure you have language in your ordinances to address such instances if you would like to address such instances. Without saying too much. Because pipelines kind of often are energy sources for data centers. So just keeping those kinds of things in mind, not just preparing centers.
I appreciate this conversation, and I'll say that I know Amanda and I were both at the State Association of County Commissioners conference this past week. It was a breakout session with guidance around these things, and That was definitely one of the big takeaways, that get your zoning ordinance tightened up before to apply. But you got to get to where you understand these things. And so for those of you who don't know, Mike Turner was here with us. Was it Regional Day or one of our regular meetings? Regional Day. He's from Loudoun County, Virginia, and a commissioner who's been very proactive in getting information out there, and so that's on our website for anyone who wants to look at that. But thanks for that. Okay. What other things, Kathleen?
I just wanted to give a shout out to Central Pines, because we were just given as board level work that we had engaged Central Pines on our housing strategy. It's very impressed with the work that's being done, and I'm looking forward to the final report. But if you have not engaged Central Pines for your technical assistance and some of those other areas, huge shout out.
I'll just, and I don't know if you already have this, Elena, but the city of Sanford, Lee County, and the town of Broadway worked on our unified development ordinance and did pass data center regulations. So that's another set of regulations that are out there for you all to take a look at, how we approach that. And I know that, you know, our Joint Planning Commission folks would be happy to talk to anybody who's wrestling through with that, but I'm sure you probably already have that information, but we can get that for you. I'll just also announce that Sanford had a great economic development opportunity land in Lee County, and the city of Sanford. Steris announced a $600 million project, which is going to be a manufacturing center of excellence located in our community. And we couldn't be more proud to be having another life science company in that field be locating in our community. We're a community of makers, and it fits right into what we do. So it was a really great win for our community, and it's going to be great for our residents. And just to point out those benefits of those partnerships that everybody's building, both here regionally, because, you know, companies that locate in any of our communities aren't looking at our boundaries as what they're looking for. They're looking at what we offer around the region because they know that their employees are coming in and out of our community. So, you know, as a community, we get stronger every time any of us has a great announcement like this. So we're proud to partner with all of you.
Here, congrats. That's awesome.
Anybody else have anything they want to share? Well, I will just say, in Wake County, as the Board of Commissioners and our legal team, we've spent the last 4 months learning more than I ever wanted to know about hospital administration and mergers. I will not share with that tonight, but if anyone is interested, ask me offline. Surrounding, of course, the Wake Med and Atrium potential combination that we didn't know we were going to be dealing with, and it has been a lot. So I'm just putting that out there as to what a challenge it has been for us to figure out all the moving pieces and make a decision one way or the other pretty soon, whether to bless this or not bless this, because we hold some leverage over it, because the Wake Med Hospital was once a county hospital. And when we turned it over in 1997 to be its own nonprofit, we gave them the then existing facilities on New Bern Avenue and the original building at the Cary facility. As part of that agreement, we entered into a Articles of Incorporation agreement for the nonprofit hospital that the county commissioners would still name board members to that board, and that they had to commit to remaining the community hospital and providing indigent care in our community. If they ceased to do that, and they also had to provide us with financial statements every year so that we could see the level of indigent care that they were providing. And so in that initial agreement, if they ceased to do either of those things, we have rights of reversion to pull that property back and say, not not your hospital anymore. So that is why we, as Wake County Commission, are now involved in the decision, and it has been very difficult, but just want to share that context.
Yeah, I'll just share. I hope you guys work it out. I know it's a tough task, but Roseville already before the announcement of merger, we're going to get and I think we still are. I think merger or not, we will get it, which is emergency center. Our first emergency center, first hospital in town of 14,000 people, and I'm pretty excited about that. It has a 10-bed that goes with the EC. But recently, and we have known from Wake Med for many years that they plan to expand and put a hospital there. They bought enough property for the hospital own, but they kind of speeded it up. And Friday they made an announcement that $900 million expansion in Wake County, which included a hospital in Roseville in the next couple of years, which is a 45-bed unit, which excites us for sure. So that's part of something you have to, figure into, your decision is,
well,
it affects communities,
Those will happen. But I'll just add just this context that I have learned through a multitude of discussions with Wake Med folks, consultants, medical providers. The reality is, in our current landscape, it is almost impossible for a smaller, locally owned hospital to have long-term viability in our current environment. A lot of this has to do with the fact that they get much lower reimbursement rates from the big insurers. They don't have the bargaining power that the UNCs and Dukes and bigger hospital systems have. And as we are continuing to grow in Wake County, need to meet the need. I don't know where we're going to land on this deal, but I can just tell you that our board has come to understand the reason why the status quo of Wake Med remaining this independent community hospital is probably not a long-term option. What the right answer is going to be, we've grappled with, but just wanted to share that it's complicated.
Thank you for sharing that. That's important for everybody here to know.
Anything else from anyone? Okay.
Oh, there's somebody on.
All right, that hand up. Chris, go
Hi,
ahead.
Chris Warren, Town of Fuquay Arena. So I just wanted to talk about growth and water just a little bit. So the Town of Fuquay Arena, we're working on an interbasin transfer to transfer 6 million gallons a day from the Cape Fear River Basin to the Neuse River Basin. And so, as many of you probably know, the interbasin transfer process is very long and complex and arduous and requires approvals from many boards. So one thing to maybe keep in mind for all communities, especially in our area that are growing so fast, is that in the last budget, a kind of moratorium on interbasin transfers was passed. So, and probably a lot of that came from just some controversy related to our project where, 6 million gallons a day isn't that much. It doesn't even show up in the noise if you go on the USGS, flow rate charts and everything. But, downstream on the Cape Fear River, they were very upset about it. But this is a process that happens, many times throughout state history as our towns are growing, and it's just part of our water and growth management, part of, all municipalities in North Carolina, all counties. And so this is maybe something to keep on your radar that this moratorium was passed because, there's been a lot of misinformation, especially downstream on the Cape Fear River, Fayetteville and Wilmington have, they've been kind of beating the drum, and there's a lot of just kind of nasty politics coming out of it, from different folks in the legislature and just board members and people who are thinking, that the Cape Fear River is going to dry up despite us taking a fraction of a percentage of the amount of water that comes out each day and flows downstream, even during like a flood like we had this summer. So I think that's something people should maybe keep on their radar. We were fortunate enough in Fuquay Arena to get a little carve out and get language inserted into the budget to um, to say that any kind of interbasin transfers in progress are exempt from this moratorium, but any new IBTs going forward, they'll be subject to this. So, as we are growing rapidly in the Tri region, as many of you know, this is something to think about and talk to your legislators about because it can become a problem. And for growth, we're really dependent on this going through for our very long-term plans up into like 2055. So I just wanted to give you all a heads up.
Okay, that's, yeah, I'm somewhat aware of that, followed it in the news, but I appreciate you sharing the details around that and how that can affect all of us eventually as we're facing challenges with our water supply. Okay, anything else that people would like to share? Appreciate all that engagement tonight, everybody. Is there any other business anyone would like to put forth before the group tonight? Okay, well, seeing none, I will move this meeting adjourned, and we will have an executive committee meeting next month, but the next full board meeting will be October